Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is December 4th, 2025, and El Chiringuito has revealed that Real Madrid has a smoking gun. A report that they are ready to present to the court that will prove once and for all that Barcelona did indeed bribe referees through Negreira. Also, Barcelona have prohibited the sale of tickets to any Eintracht Frankfurt fans. And finally, rumors stating that Inigo Martinez could be coming back during this winter transfer market. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with the news that El Chiringuito, which is a TV program in Spain, actually, not being fair here, it's actually the mouthpiece of Florentino Perez. It's a TV program that was literally created by Florentino Perez to be the mouthpiece of him and Real Madrid, a show that's a propaganda machine for Real Madrid and Madridismo in Spain, announced last night that Real Madrid have prepared a conclusive report that's going to prove once and for all that Barcelona did indeed bribe referees during the Negreira era, which was between the years of 2001 and 2018. Which, of course, coincides with the best era in Barcelona's history, where Barcelona won many, many trophies and where they were the best team in the world. Now, this report is made up of videos and stats that Real Madrid will present to the judge in charge of the investigation into the Negreira case that's going to prove that Barcelona were indeed favored by referees. That's it, guys. We got the smoking gun. It's videos from matches and it's statistics. Bravo, Real Madrid. What time are we living in? My God, because I never thought that Real Madrid, which is supposed to be the greatest club ever, the club that has won the most trophies, God-chosen club, would stoop to such low levels. Because this is absolutely pathetic. It's sad, but it's pretty entertaining because I honestly cannot wait to see this so-called report, because this might work with Real Madrid TV. This might work on Madridistas. But in a court of law, this is not going to work. And it's coming from an actual lawyer, because statistics are not proof, okay? It's not evidence. Statistics have to be interpreted. For example, one statistic that Florentino Perez used during the General Assembly when in front of the Real Madrid socios, and he said, look at the red cards. Barcelona had a lot more red cards in their favor. And it's like, okay, but what do those red cards mean? Have we actually broken them down? Like, were these red cards actually well-deserved? Did the opposing teams actually deserve those red cards? Or were they red cards that were very suspicious? Also, when did those red cards come about? For example, a lot of times Barcelona used to play against Real Madrid, and Real Madrid would get red cards. It was always in the 90th minute. In other words, it had zero impact on the match. Or were they red cards at the beginning of the match where Barcelona were losing or where Barcelona were drawing 0-0, right? Just pointing at the number, say, look how many red cards. It's not evidence of anything. You have to actually break down those numbers. And even then, it's still not proof of a crime being committed. And definitely not videos of matches. I mean, it's pretty sad, but at the same time, again, it's hilarious because I cannot wait for this report to come out, because it seems that Real Madrid are always raising the bar, or I should say lowering the bar, on how ridiculous they could be. You know, whether it's their stadium that took twice the time and twice the budget, whether it's the soundproofing that they were supposed to be able to hold concerts and now they can't because they cannot soundproof the stadium, will be their retractable pitch that now turns into a mud and putty, and players are slipping, sliding on it, where it be their parking lot, which has been permanently shut down now by the city. They cannot finish the parking lot. Whether it be the Negreira case, whether it be, we're not going to show up to the Copa del Rey final. And now with this so-called report that's going to prove once and for all that Barcelona bribed referees, which just goes to show how much psychological damage we have perpetrated on them. Where all these years later, and they still cannot overcome the fact that Barcelona whooped their asses left and right. And that's, I think, what actually makes it even more funny because they are so butthurt that they're still digging into it. But they're so butthurt that they don't even realize how stupid they're being because they're saying that referees still favor Barcelona now. Barcelona stopped hiring Negreira's company back in 2018. This was 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. So if referees were favoring Barcelona during the Negreira era and they're still favoring Barcelona now, right, that's the constant, Barcelona being favored by referees, but the Negreira factor is no longer existent, simple math. That means it wasn't Negreira that was helping Barcelona and the refs ruling in favor, right? Because refs were favoring us during Negreira. They're still favoring us now, but now Negreira's gone. If you have the same constant, but the factor changed, that means that factor is not what is causing the constant. Simple math. But anyways, that's too much math for Madridistas. All right, let's move on to the next bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, as I reported yesterday, Barcelona are set to release a cat plushie. Of course, cat is the mascot that Barcelona selected for their 125th anniversary. And when lo and behold, today the cat plushie was released. It was a pre-sale only for club socios. 5,000 units or 5,000 plushies were released and they sold out within minutes. Yes, that's how much demand there is for this cat plushie. And don't worry, because tomorrow the cat plushie will go on sale for the general public. So if you want to grab your hands or get your hands on a cat plushie, you can do so on Barcelona's website. They're going to cost 35 euros per plushie. And I got to say, this has been an absolute victory for Barcelona as far as marketing. Cat has been very, very popular. Barcelona had already released clothing for kids, which sold really well. They released mugs, which is selling really well. And now with this cat plushie, which is also expected to sell very, very well. And of course, it's going to mean a huge financial boost for Barcelona, which of course I welcome it. And as far as the cat plushie itself, let me know, would you like me to raffle off a cat plushie? Let me know down below in the comment section. If enough people answer, I will hold a raffle for the cat plushie. Now, speaking of money, I guess. Yeah, because it's ticket sales. We do have to talk about the Champions League match against Eintracht Frankfurt because Barcelona have decided that no tickets will be sold to the public. They're only going to be sold to club socios, and that's to prevent what happened last time Barcelona faced off against Eintracht Frankfurt at the Camp Nou. Of course, this was during the Europa League, where more than 30,000 Eintracht Frankfurt fans were able to get a hold of tickets, and they pretty much turned the Spotify Camp Nou into their home stadium. As you can see in this picture, all covered in white. All these were Eintracht Frankfurt fans. So Barcelona are trying to prevent this by prohibiting the sale of tickets to the public, period. Not Barca public, not Eintracht Frankfurt public. It's only going to be available for socios, for club socios, to prevent this from happening. And Barcelona are also going to take extra measures to make sure that these socios are not selling their tickets to the public, which could end up, in the hands of Eintracht Frankfurt fans, which is what happened because last time we faced off against Eintracht Frankfurt, it was a holiday. So many socios, many season ticket holders who had tickets sold their tickets and they left town because they were on vacation. And that's how more than 30,000 away fans were able to make it into the stadium. So this time, tickets are only going to be sold to socios, and any socio that's found to have sold his ticket to someone else could face punishment all the way up to expulsion as a socio from the club. And I do welcome this. Now, I usually don't like when clubs prevent away fans from attending. I think away fans should be allowed to watch their teams in away stadiums. But if you don't know how to behave, then you lose that privilege. Because when Eintracht fans invaded the Camp Nou, it wasn't just about having them outnumber Barcelona fans. It was the fact that they were peeing off the stands. Yes, they were peeing like animals. They were throwing trash. They were harassing the Barcelona fans. Some people felt like there was a lot of interviews of women, kids, families who felt so unsafe because the Eintracht fans were acting like absolute hooligans that they had to leave the stadium. So I'm all for away fans visiting, but if you cannot behave like a civilized human being, then you deserve to lose that privilege. Now, speaking of the Eintracht Frankfurt match, of course, before we can play that match, we still have to play a La Liga match against Real Betis. And today, the team continued their preparation ahead of the weekend's match. And guess who visited the training grounds? No other than one of the greatest midfielder, Andres Iniesta, who paid our players a visit. Of course, I say one of the greatest because him and Xavi Hernandez are the two greatest midfielders of our history. You can even include Busquets in that. But my question to you is, by the way, this is completely random, but who do you think was better? I cannot choose, but maybe you guys have a preference. Xavi or Iniesta? For me, it's impossible. I think the two of them were absolutely the greatest ever, but let me know what your thoughts are. And now let's return to the news because, of course, during training session, Fermin Lopez was able to complete the full training session with the team, which signals that Fermin is very close to being declared fit. Of course, Fermin got injured against Chelsea. The scheduled return match for him is Eintracht Frankfurt in Champions League next week. But since he did complete the training session today, he could technically see some minutes against Real Betis. Of course, it's going to depend on his sensations and what the doctors say. But if he is fit, I think it'd be a good idea to give him some minutes against Real Betis. That way he could maybe play full match against Eintracht Frankfurt. But just know that Fermin completed the training session, so he's very, very close to being declared fit. And that, of course, is very important now that Dani Olmo will be out for a whole month due to that shoulder dislocation. Now, another player that joined the training session today was, of course, Frankie de Jong, who missed the last two matches. The first one was due to personal reasons. The second one, they said, because he had like some fever or a virus. Well, now Frankie de Jong was back in group training, so he too should be available for the match against Real Betis. And again, I welcome this since now Olmo is injured. Of course, we need all of our midfielders or as many midfielders as possible. Now, besides Dani Olmo, of course, missing the training session, we also had Araujo, who is still out because he has requested some time off to recover mentally from that Chelsea red card. Now, we will end today's video with a rumor. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who started it. But today there were rumors circulating social media stating that Inigo Martinez will be coming back to Barcelona during the winter transfer market. The report states that Barcelona are looking to bring back Inigo Martinez since they've been suffering, defensively speaking, since he left. And while I'm sorry to break your hearts, I'm breaking my own heart because I miss Inigo Martinez, but this is not true. There's absolutely no truth to the rumor that Inigo will be coming back in the winter transfer market. Trust me, I wish that was true, but it's not. It's nothing but a rumor. Inigo is happy in Saudi. He's 34 years old, so this is probably his last chance to make big bucks. And, well, that's exactly what he's doing at Saudi Arabia. So no Inigo's return in the winter. I know. Trust me, I would have loved to. I would love for this to be true, but I'm not going to lie to you just because I want it to be true. There's simply no truth to this. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I posted an earlier video today. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you do. Posting another video later today, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, Barça.